Hello and welcome to Worth Beyond Earth. This is a space for souls who've never quite felt like they belong here on Earth and now are starting to remember why. Here we talk about spirituality, about crystals, star seeds, the soul's journey across dimensions. I'm Marina, and together we will remember who we are, where we came from, and why we're here. Let's go beyond. Hello guys! Today's episode is going to be about one of my most favorite topics on earth to talk about, to teach about, to discuss, to experiment and to experience is about crystals. Today's question is going to be, how do you know whether working with crystals is for you? And how can you determine, do you even start with it? Where do you start? What do you do? How do you experience working with crystals? If you were always curious about this instrument, if you have your own spiritual practice, if you are exploring different instruments, tarot cards, clairvoyant readings, channeling, astral travel, lucid dreaming, things like this, and you were wondering, among others, maybe working with crystals can also be for you, today's podcast is definitely going to answer some of your questions. If you are already practicing working with crystals, today I will try to share also some interesting advanced techniques of what can you actually do with crystals, how can you enhance your work and practices that you are already doing by yourself. So this episode is going to be also useful for you. So let's start from the definition. How can you explore your work with crystals if you are just starting this journey, you don't really know where to begin and you are just wondering? Of course, I would say that working with crystals is not a theoretical practice. This is not something that you can just learn theoretically. This is the practice that you only develop by experiencing it. So of course you do need your first crystal or a set of crystals, or at least you need to go to a professional shop that is selling original natural minerals, crystals and stones for you to start experiencing it, because your first experience with crystals is going to be through the crystal energy that you receive directly when you get in contact with them. With time, you do not need to have your crystals physically with you in order to work with them, but this is a little bit more of an advanced practice for those people who have been working with their crystals for a long time. They have already established a connection and they do know how to experience that energy, how to get in contact with it. So if you're just a beginner, you do need physical contact with crystals. What do I mean by crystals? So the mineral kingdom is quite broad and we do have different types of them. Some of them we call stones or rocks. These are usually more dense types of minerals. They visually look more like rocks. Then there are also crystals, which we normally consider to be of a different mineral structure. So they are less dense, they're more soft, and their energy also feels completely different from those of them that we call rocks. Now, there is also precious stones. This is also a different category, but they are also considered to be part of the mineral kingdom. They are also crystals, even though some of them are considered to be precious and they are normally very expensive. They're still very affordable, depending on their clarity, depending on their origin. So you can still get in contact with these crystals as well. You just need to find whatever is available to you and maybe a bit more affordable. So when I talk about precious crystals, I normally talk about sapphires, rubies, emeralds, things like this. And yeah, of course, you can still buy them. They don't have to be extremely expensive or very, very high quality grade. You can just get them in a slightly different quality, but you can still experience working with them. Let's start with understanding whether overall you're interested to work with mineral kingdom as one of your instruments in your spiritual development, in your healing work, in your shadow work, in your personal growth, in also in achieving your daily goals, right? So we're not only using the crystals when we need to do something very fundamental on a soul level, on an energetic level. We also use crystals on a daily basis because they help developing, maybe altering, maybe changing, complementing our own energy field. And when we get in contact with crystals on a daily basis or on a frequent basis, we also learn to feel our own energy much better. So it's not only that we use them as a tool to give us something or take away something from us, we also use it as a tool to understand and get to know ourselves better as well. Because as we will learn, maybe not in this episode in too much detail, some of the crystals are really very fundamentally teaching us some big lessons about ourselves. I'm talking, of course, first and foremost about Lemurian crystals, and we will not talk about them in too much detail today. I would say that working with Lemurian crystals is a bit of more advanced crystal work, but it doesn't mean that you have to gain certain proficiency or very serious experience before you can work with them. In fact, with crystals, the only prerequisite for you to be working with them is the state of your energetic system, your openness and your readiness. Sometimes people come to the shop where I work and they can start working with the Lemurian crystal straight ahead. They just come to the shop, they tell me that they've never worked with crystals before. They go straight at the table where we have Lemurian crystals, they pick up one and they say, yeah, that's the one. I just feel it. I just know that this one is for me. So you do not really have to gain any prior experience that we would consider a formal experience or a formal teaching before you can start working with crystals. But from personal experience, and I would say from the logical standpoint, a little bit of theory will be very helpful for you at some point in your journey. But if you're just starting, what should you actually do, or what could you do? Where could you start exploring this relationship with the mineral kingdom? I would say that first of all, you need to get a crystal or get in contact with the crystal in the shop, for example. So you go to a shop, you can Google in your city what are the crystal shops, and I would suggest that you spend quite good effort in researching which shops are selling authentic crystals, authentic minerals, and which shops could be a little bit more of a touristy vibe, that are selling a bit more pop culture type of spiritual artifacts and spiritual instruments. So there is nothing wrong, of course, with getting a crystal from such a shop, of course, but if you really want to experience true crystal potential, you would need to make sure that the crystal you're getting is, first of all, of course, real and authentic, but also that it comes from the authentic place, so their energy is not distorted and they do not contain in themselves other energies. So they do not lay in store, for example, uncleansed, where, for example, a lot of people are passing by, a lot of people are touching it. Energy cleansing is also quite an interesting topic, but we will also not get too much into detail here. I would just suggest that you start somewhere in a shop that has a really good reputation for offering people authentic, natural, beautiful stones that preferably come to you straight from the source, or maybe a shop is having good relationships with good retailers and wholesalers. So when you get the crystal that is appealing to you, you can start, of course, exploring how you can work with it. And of course, the idea here is to learn what kind of action does it share with you, what kind of feeling does it give you, what kind of energy you're feeling from it, and what does it mean for you. So working with crystals is very personal, very subjective work. Of course, you can buy or read a book that describes different actions of crystals and the way how they alter your energy field, for example, or what kind of knowledge they help you to gain. All of that, of course, has a very good place, but I would also suggest, both from my personal experience and from helping people to get their crystals and helping people to learn how to work with the crystal, I would say that your personal direct experience is more important and more valuable than anything that you can read in a book. And there are very different reasons for that. It's not that some books are written by people who do not know anything or something like that. Every one of us has our own individual life experience, our understanding, our ego, our system, our personality, our teaching, our tradition, our age, our culture. So there are very many different layers and prisms through which we experience everything in life, including the energy, including the knowledge, right? So if two people feel something slightly different holding the same crystal, it does not mean that one of them is right and one of them is wrong, or both of them are wrong. It just means that the crystal does slightly different things for two people, and maybe they're interpreting this thing in a different way. For one person, the crystal might be giving them experience of true love and acceptance. And for one person, it would be a very nice, nurturing experience, but the other person will feel very rejected, very sad. Does it mean that the crystal does different things for two people? No. It just means that for the second person, they might have a trauma and a wound that they have not healed yet. And the crystal is just reflecting them back, lack of that energy in themselves. So they are feeling sad. So for these people, the crystal will show not necessarily the wrong perception of the energy of the crystal, but it will reflect back to them their lack of self-love, lack of acceptance, maybe because of some past trauma or unhealed emotions or something like this. So I would say that your personal experience with the crystal that makes sense to you, that you are feeling, that you're confident in, is more important. Hence, in crystal work, what is the most important is your own personal practice over learning certain things at some point. I would say that it's best if you start experiencing crystals by yourself and then you learn a little bit more of theory about them, because it will help you to add the structure and the theory on something that you have already started developing yourself, and it will only strengthen your confidence and will boost it, rather than you come straight into the crystal world and you have no direct experience with crystals, you do not have experience reading the energy or understanding your own reaction to crystals, and then someone tells you about the theory, and then you kind of learn it as the truth. So if I hold a certain crystal, I have to feel this. If I work with that crystal, it has to give me that. So instead of relying on your own personal feeling and developing the work with crystal as your tool, as your strength, you actually rely on someone else telling you what is right, what is wrong. And then work with crystal is not becoming your personal accelerator, but it becomes just yet another crutch that you're falling onto when you're not sure. So working with crystals, just like as other tools of spiritual development, are meant to bring the strength and power back to you. If you have ever lost it or gave it away, maybe you're not confident enough what you're feeling, maybe you're just developing your spiritual feelings and practice, working with crystals will give you the confidence in your abilities back, because you will develop them with time if you dedicate your curiosity and time and effort into it. And alternatively, just falling into the trap of listening to other people will just make you feel like you're in some sort of hierarchy, and there are some people who know things and people who don't know things, and then you will again try to comply and try to follow someone else's steps, and then it will not be as fulfilling work with crystals for you as it can be if you listen to yourself first. So I would say with this particular instrument, it's very important to develop your own feeling, your own trust in yourself and in the energy that you are receiving. And with time, it will get only stronger. It will get only better. And you will receive beautiful messages for crystals, but you have to develop the confidence to actually trust in what you are hearing and what you're feeling from them. So that is the starting point. Of course, if you are interested to work with crystals, you're probably already attracted to them. So the good signs of a person who is meant to work with crystals is, of course, really enjoying them, looking at them, holding them, being around them. You might be attracted by their shape or their form. Maybe some people like polished crystals, some people like rough crystals because they like touching the rough surface and it makes them feel something, makes them feel more present in the moment. If you like their colors, if you like their outlook, how they combine with each other, maybe you like complex minerals. So here the relationship is not much to, like an object when you just want to possess them and explore them or maybe exhibit them, like your possession, like a collector, but you are more curious to just be around them, look at them, and you kind of feel like, yeah, there is some sort of aura to them and you can feel it on some level. Of course, it depends also on overall your preferred method of energetic work. Some people have different abilities and they are prone to one or other type of energetic work. Again, it's very personal to you, and if you dedicate enough curiosity to it, you will discover how does it work for you, but you have to practice. And how can you actually practice with crystals? So once you have your preferred crystal, first and foremost, try holding it in your hands. What does it make you feel like? You don't have to feel very specific feelings, you don't have to name them or know precisely what they are. You just try to understand, does it make you feel something different? When you hold that particular crystal, does it make you feel more positive overall or maybe more negative? What could it mean that you feel something out, like subjectively, quote unquote negative? Maybe you start feeling a bit sad or uncomfortable, or something is bothering you when you hold this crystal. But at the same time, a good indicator is when there is still some sort of magnetism and attraction to this crystal, even if it makes you feel, quote unquote negative emotions. So this could be a sign this crystal can help you to surface some trauma, some unresolved issue, something that you really can work with, maybe part of your shadow. So this crystal is meant to highlight to you what you need to work on in yourself. While some other crystals that make you feel uplifted, positive, energetic, happy, those are crystals that can amplify whatever you already have inside of yourself. Creativity, love, connection, happiness, abundance, things like this, right? So first you try to hold the crystal in your hands and just experience, what does it make you feel like? What is the change in your state when you hold that crystal? Once you hold it in your hands, ask a couple of questions and express the intention. You can ask a crystal, okay, what can you share with me right now? What information is important for me? Do you have a specific message for me? When I'm thinking about this topic, what am I going through right now? Try to help me understand more about this situation. What is the lesson for me in this situation? What could be next steps for me to resolve my XYZ problem? So try to ask it questions as you would ask someone trusted to you, even maybe like a counselor or a wise guide or a teacher or a friend, something like this. So ask it questions and express your intention. What would you like to achieve when you're interacting with this crystal? For example, for me right now, I have with me crystals that help me to channel. So before I record my podcast, I set an intention and I ask it, okay, please help me to channel information that is going to be the most relevant and the most useful for my audience. So I give my crystals very specific requests and I express very specific intention when I work with them. Other crystals, I can ask them just to help me to relax, help me to get rid of my stress, or help me to access certain information. Maybe I'm looking for certain type of person or connection, and I can ask a crystal to help me to connect with that person. So your intention is of course very personal to you, so feel free to experiment. And once you have asked your question or set your intention, give it a little bit of time, give it a pause. Don't expect immediately thoughts, information, or feelings coming to you right away. It might happen, might not. It doesn't mean that it's not working. Plus, also, you might be receiving information in a different form from other people. Some people are clairvoyant, so they can see images. Some people are clairsentient, and they can just feel the things, or they have certain information that they just know. So depending on your channel, you can see images, feel the feelings. You can even hear in your head a text of a song, and this text could be the answer to your question. You can hear the answer directly, or maybe you can just know the answer to it. And this is one of the probably hardest instruments to trust in yourself, and it took me a very long time because I happen to have clear cognizance. So when I ask a question, I immediately know what the answer is. And it takes practice to understand what is your imagination or what is your mind speaking to you, and what is the information that you're receiving. But for example, Lemurian crystals are helping to develop and strengthen clear cognizance quite a lot. They really help with that when we practice with them. So what else can you do with your crystal apart from just setting your intention and asking it questions? Try spending a day with it. Put it in your pocket if you can, if it's not going to destroy a crystal, and just walk with it the whole day and hold it every now and then. Maybe just put a hand in your pocket and feel the crystal and just strengthen the connection with it and strengthen your intention, and ask again the question, or just ask it to guide you throughout your day and guide you towards certain decisions or actions. And then at the end of the day, you can look back and you can see how has the crystal impacted your day, what has happened to you, what choices did you make, was something different, or maybe the day was incredibly amazing, smooth, easy. So you analyze a little bit how the crystal has impacted your day. And of course, you can also try sleeping with your crystal and kind of check out what your dreams were like. Well, here a caveat. Some of the crystals are better not to be slept with, better not to put them under your pillow for different reasons. Some of the crystals are just a bit more intense, and it would not be a good experience. And they might not show you anything relevant or important. They may just confuse you or give you so much energy that you wouldn't be able to even fall asleep. So with some of them, it's better not to sleep there. It's better to work with them during the daytime. You can also journal with your crystal. That's also a very amazing practice. If you do not like journaling, I can understand that you just might not be into it, but I would suggest try it at least once. Like, see how it works, see how it feels. It's very interesting. And when we are learning about crystals in our course, then we journal quite a lot. So first we spend time with the crystal, then we write down our experiences and the information that we received. And it also helps you to read through your notes later in time and see how has your relationship with that particular crystal developed. So it's very useful. And you don't have to journal for like solid 15 or 20 minutes. Just a few sentences sometimes is very good. Like some thought can pop out into your mind, and it will be a valuable thought for you to record and then get back to later in time. So it could be very valuable experience for you. You can also take a mindful walk with your crystal. It's when you're going for a walk and you're not listening to any music, you are not talking to anyone, you're just walking by yourself. And I normally just hold the crystal in my hand and go for a walk somewhere in a park or next to a lake or a river, somewhere where it's quiet and calm. And I do have sort of a conversation with myself. I'm thinking my thoughts and thinking about my intentions and current events. And I sort of, maybe not like really discuss it with the crystal, but I do feel the energy, and I ask it to help me to guide my thought process in a useful for me way. in a helpful for me way. And another way to work with your crystal in a similar manner is, of course, meditating with the crystal. It's when you're sitting down, and there are different types of meditations. There is Vipassana, of course, which is more of a training of the mind. There is also visual meditations, meditations with an intention. There are very many different kinds, depending what your goal is. You can also benefit from using your crystal during the meditation. Overall, I would say the real benefit and advantage of working with the crystal comes to you over time. You need to give it a time to blossom in you, to notice changes. And especially it's valuable when you start recording your thoughts and journaling after working with the crystal. Over time, it will help you to build up your confidence and your strengths in relation to the crystals. And you can start feeling like, yes, indeed, they're responding to me in a way that I can decode much faster, much easier. It makes more sense to me. So you sort of journal your development of this relationship, and it will strengthen your powers over time really a lot. And as a last part of this podcast, I wanted to talk a little bit about advanced practices for people who feel like they have already developed a solid understanding of their method, their own personal crystal practice. I would like to ask you to just get into the learning about the crystal itself a little bit more. So it's not only that you are asking the crystal to help you, but you are learning about the crystal itself. What kind of energy is this? Is it a soft energy? Is it a strong energy? Does it make you feel anything somewhere in your body? Maybe somewhere is the stagnant energy, and this crystal helps you to feel this stagnation. Would you like to put this crystal on this part of the body? Should it be pointing upwards or downwards? Do you want to direct it towards you or maybe away from you? You know, there are many different ways how a crystal can tell you about itself and what to do with it. And you will learn and develop this relationship as well more as you work with it. Of course, the most obvious method is to work with chakra system and to place crystals that relate to different chakras on those specific places. But you can also realize that crystals can pinpoint you to some blockages in your energy center, and they can help you to cleanse your body and, of course, energetic body as well. And ask it how else can it enhance your other practices, whatever you are doing on the other side of your spiritual practice. What other tools are you using? It can help you with your lucid dream practice or astral travel. It can help with your tarot card reading, with your yoga practice, with your astrological reading. Ask it how it can enhance your abilities and help you. And at some point you will develop almost like a working relationship with some of the crystals. For example, I do have always very specific crystals that I use during my channeling or my work with people. I have very specific crystals that I take with me to work, that I go and I use when I meet with people. I go, for example, to public spaces and I use very particular crystals that give me certain type of things that I need. So you will learn more about the crystal itself as your practice develops further as well. And if you would like to learn how do you actually choose the best for your crystal, best for your intention or your question, the crystal that you actually need right now, let me know in the comments. I will be happy to record an episode on this as well, because it's also a very interesting topic. But for today, that was all I wanted to share with you about crystals. Let me know what you think, guys. Please like this episode and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to help me reach more people like you and me for whom this information can be useful. And as always, from my heart to yours, guys, remember who you are, stay curious, stay open, you are worth beyond Earth. Until next time, guys.